Welcome to another edition of Game Time today. A player sit down, Michael Gerl, joined by Prairie Blaze, MWJHL goaltender, and I just a defending MWJHL championship goaltender, Shayna Moore. Shayna, welcome to the program. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not bad, not bad, not bad. But I catch up with you just before tryouts here. We did pre-record this. If you're watching it on Monday. Uh, Scheduling allows me to pre-record some stuff every now and then, such as this one. Shayna kind enough to join us today. There were other sit-downs. If you want to go back on the YouTube channel, watch them. Seems like a run of goaltenders coming on this show. Just had Rachel Alderson, had one other how do I would left you the show before that, so everything's kind of running the goalie theme for now, which is unintentional. But we talked to the check in with the Prairie Blaze and the champions that they're going to have on their armor this year, target on their bat, so to say. Shayna, when I say Prairie Blaze roll through MWJHL regular season, had a little bit of trouble in the playoffs, managed to get it done and win not only the regular season but the provincial title. And we're sitting here months later. Does that get old?
Not at all.
First off, congratulations on the championship. We'll talk about that. It was a hard-fought 5-game series, back and forth, a lot of wild emotional swings. Game 5 was a little less dramatic. I think that's kind of the way you guys drew it up. You guys have to fight off elimination in Game 4. We'll get to that later on. I just wanted to get an idea from you. How did you start in hockey? Was it always being a goalie for you?
So actually, when I first started playing hockey, I was a player. I think I was about 4 years old, and then once I hit first year novice, I know they don't call it novice anymore, but when I played, it was first year novice.
Yeah.
No one wanted to be.
All that. Just for context, they only changed it recently, about 3 or 4 years ago, but they went into more age range instead of more generic names or the old names that even I grew up with.
Yeah. So no one wanted to be goalie. We usually took turns. And then when I went in, it was just, that was it. Knew I wanted to be a goalie then and there.
So you went into the net once, and fair to say you never really came out.
Exactly.
So that leads to my next question. What was it about that? Because I can't imagine, first off, friends and family, when they find out that you want to be a goalie, you know, goalie parents, and I'm sure you'll understand this question, goalie parents and goalie friends seem to be wired differently. I don't know about you, but I go to the games and I see a lot of the regular faces. Very often I can pick out who is there to watch the goalies. So maybe what was the reaction of your friends and family? Because, I'm sure not everybody enjoys the thrill of, 50 to 60-mile-an-hour pucks flying at you. Um, what was their reaction when you said, yes, I'm going in the net, but hey, I'm not coming out. This is where I want to be.
They were probably very scared for their bank accounts because goalie equipment's very expensive.
That's true. That's true. I actually listened to the interview with Rachel Alderson. She mentioned that, or it might have been Lefty. Parents saying, "Oh, you want to play the most expensive position on hockey," but I would say it turned out pretty well. Where did you sort of, I guess, play high school before coming into the MWJHL? Because there's that gap from when you start to where you are now. If you could kind of fill in the gaps in between there.
Yeah, for sure. So, my grade 9 and 10 years, I played up in northern Manitoba with the Norman Wilds
Okay, yeah.
of the Manitoba Female AAA. And then grade 11, I moved out to Boston to play with the Boston Shamrocks of the Junior Women's Hockey League. And then I finished my high school hockey at Balmoral Hall of the same league, the JWHL.
So that's kind of a lot to unpack and the basis of where I wanted to go over the next little bit. Um, how did AAA prepare you for the Shamrocks? Because that's a pretty high intensity lead for somebody in grade 9 and grade 10. I know when like we struggle with. I think a lot of people don't realize, when you're in AAA or even in a place like playing in the states or Balmoral Hall, there's demands on schedule, there's demands on time, there's demands on training, and all some people seem to forget. You guys are normal people that have to somehow live lives outside of this hockey athletic, this sports bubble.
Mhm.
How were you able to kind of prepare for that at such a young age? Because, we look at it, that's like 13, or maybe 14, 15, 16, 17, all over the place in that little time frame. Y- For lack of a better term, you got to grow up pretty quickly.
Yes.
What's that like? Like, how do you compartmentalize that at such a young age?
You know what? I honestly not too sure, but like when I went to Boston, I went with a couple people that I played Norman Wild with. So that
Yeah.
made it easier, had a bunch of people. And then there was just like lots of support from friends and family. They really wanted me to go out there and go play all the way over in Boston. I think that really helped all that support.
What'd you learn about Boston when you were there?
It's very big. The traffic is crazy too.
So it's not like Winnipeg.
No, I love Winnipeg. Like, traffic can get bad here sometimes, but it's not as bad as over there.
Yeah, I mean a lot of people, small area, you can get to, relatively for those that don't know and you're geographically challenged, Boston is on the east coast ish of the United States. It's close to like Maine and Rhode Island and all those types of places within driving range. What what was it about that year in Boston? Like, what did you learn about yourself? Because everybody seems to kind of think, oh, a goalie coming from Canada, a goalie coming from such a small area. What did you learn about yourself in that year? And you have to be pretty excited to be going from Norman to all of a sudden Boston, Massachusetts, which is probably one of the hockey hotbeds in that area of the United States.
Hmm, let me think. I think I learned that, I can like I very when I was younger, very shy goaltender, didn't think I was any good or whatsoever. And then once I went out to Boston, we played all these like really, really very good teams. I was like, okay, maybe I'm, decent.
Yeah, you gotta, you learn to become a pretty good goalie pretty quickly based on some of the opposition.
Mhm.
Tell me about your transition back to Balmoral Hall because you went to Boston for that one year. You said you came back for your grade 12 year. Was it nice to be back somewhat home in your
Yeah.
home province at least?
Yes, that was very nice. Closer to family and friends. Like it got lonely at times in Boston, so moving back to Manitoba was nice. Friends and family could like come watch games, practices, all that stuff.
So tell me about your grade 12 year at Balmoral. What were your kind of goals? I mean, I'm sure the MWJHL was on your radar for a time. Were you looking at college? Was that something that interests you? Because I mean, you were familiar with the U.S. and living in the States. Granted, Boston is, different than probably anywhere else. Just like every city is different, no matter where you go. Was college something that was on your radar? Because the type of hockey that you played, that was heavily scouted, whether that was Norman, whether that was Boston, whether that was Balmoral Hall. Was college hockey something that interests you?
Mm, it was at a time, and then once I got into grade 12 and started thinking more about my future, like I want to be a nurse. And me personally, I didn't think I could balance college hockey and nursing school, so I had to make the very tough decision of, am I going to go do college hockey and do, I don't know, whatever kind of degree, or am I going to go stay here in Manitoba and try and get my nursing degree? Mhm.
Yeah, and you know what? And one would say, looking back in hindsight, that you have a pretty good balance of both right now. Uh,
Mhm.
Tell me what it was like. I mean, I don't expect you to remember every, detail about this, but you tried out for the MWJHL. Wasn't all that long ago, actually. When you really think about it, how fast, periods of years go by. What was that kind of tryout experience like for you, and what do you remember about it? Obviously, we all know how it ended up now, but what was that tryout experience like for you?
Gonna be honest, it was a little nerve-wracking because I hadn't done tryouts in so many years, and I
Okay,
forgot
so
what
just
they.
just 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 to paraphrase quickly, if you would have answered anything else other than that, I'm not sure I would have believed you. So you're dead there.
Ah,
So what was that like? I mean, you're really nervous. You're 18, 17, 18. You got all this experience in Boston and Balmoral Hall, but yet at the end of the day, you don't know what's going to happen.
exactly. Didn't know what I
So
was signing up for.
yeah, true that. So you get put on the Prairie Blaze. You get the phone call. I'm assuming it came from Dale or Dale or Kevin or somebody. What was it like getting that phone call?
Very I felt relieved.
So just really quickly, in your time with the Prairie Blaze, we've seen you kind of steadily progress as a goalie to the point where last year you were one of the top goalies in the league. Um, Going into that original tryout, if I would have told you, hey, Shayna, in a couple years you'll be the top goalie, one of the top goalies in the MWJHL, what would you have told me?
Told you I wouldn't believe you.
True that. So going on last year, you guys going back, and this is going back about 5 years ago. They won the championship as the 4 or 5 seed. I can't remember at the time, but they went on quite a run. Had an affiliate goaltender fill in. They won because they lost both goalies due to injury. Really started near the bottom when Dale and Kevin took over. Dale Bear, Kevin Montman. Really kind of built into that championship, and then it just kind of steadily built from that championship. 1 year kind of putting one building block on top of the other, which is basically what you guys got last year, which was an almost unbeaten season. Pretty darn good season for you guys. Could you see that coming in the locker room at the beginning of last year? Because it felt like there was this steady build from you guys of, okay, we have new players, but the old ones that leave get brought in with some of these new players, and we just kind of pick up right where we left off.
Mhm. Hmm. So, how can I put this? Yeah, like I feel like nervous about this year and stuff because we are coming back from being champs, but there are like we lost a couple very key players. I'll admit to that, but I think that our team, like we still have a big portion of our team that we had last year, so I think that'll be really key and then we'll have new players who can add to that.
So, what's when all is said and done, and I know what the one of your answers would be, so I'm gonna eliminate that from the equation. and that's winning the championship. I'm gonna eliminate that from Miss Net's answer. What was one of your highlights? And obviously, you'll say winning the championship. So, uh, other than winning the championship, what was one of the things that you were most excited about? Because you guys were winning and you were winning and you were winning and you were winning a lot of games, but there had to have been some other highlights. What were some of those?
Well, I'd say winning goalie of the year was pretty good.
True, true. I should have eliminated that one too, but I'll let it slide.
I think just having the ability to compete in playoffs. Playoffs for me, I found was very fun this year. Yes, of course, very nerve-wracking, but all like our whole group of girls and everything just made it so much fun.
Now, I don't want to get you to toot your own horn, but in the same sense, I'm kind of gonna get you to do that. But I'll ask this question, and it may be fair, it may not be. You can kind of guide me in whatever direction you choose. Did it seem like the bigger the game got, the more, the higher your level of play became? Because I know a lot of goalies, and it's been in my 12 years of broadcasting, but would have had a playoff series like what you guys had, and would have not been able to handle that pressure, not been able to handle the ebbs and flows. You guys hadn't lost a lot of games going into that playoff run either, so it surprised a lot of people that you were, in that game five. But when all was said and done, when the game becomes bigger, is that sort of your coming out party? Do you embrace the big games?
I love them. I love all the attention that they bring.
That's true. I mean, and then all the post game interviews that come as a result of every shutout or good performance. What is it about those big games that excite you? Because I don't know about you, but I'm just watching a game on TV. I take this week's Bomber game, for instance, where it was a nail biter, which the Bombers won, and I'm thinking in the fourth quarter, geez, I'm getting nervous and I'm not even in the game. How, does that ever happen to you, or is that kind of an adrenaline rush, sort of say, that you don't even think about how big the moment is, how big the game is, and it just becomes another game? Because I know for me, I'd be extremely nervous the bigger the game gets. I don't know how people can just remain so calm.
Most definitely. I get really nervous, but then I also think to myself like everyone else is probably nervous for sure. So like why does that make a difference?
Tell me about game five. Series is tied 2-2. You guys stave off elimination the night before. There is no bigger game in the season. You guys had to have had a lot of confidence knowing that you guys had beaten them quite a bit in the regular season. I didn't really sense a real panic when you guys went down 2 games to 1. I thought, okay, you know what? This team's gonna have it. They haven't been pushed to the limit. This is them pushed to the limit. If they're gonna win the championship, they're gonna do it having been pushed to the limit. Was there any panic in that locker room at 2 games to 1 and in game five? Because if there was, I didn't see it.
In the locker room, I'd say no, there wasn't. Like we all knew we can do it. We beat them previous times. We beat them that one game when we were down 2-1. So I think we all knew that we could do it.
So as the game five gets going, what's your mindset as a goalie? I mean, you guys got the early goal. There was a couple saves. Are you looking for those first couple shots to come your way to kind of feel the puck, or how do you view that? Because goalies can be pretty funny that way. Some like the high volume of shots, some like the medium, some like give me a shot in the first minute so I can get used to this. Where do you sit on that?
I'm exactly give me a shot in the first minute so I can feel
So a breakaway 10 seconds into the game would suit you fine.
exactly.
Okay, yeah, that's well, it's happened before. I've seen it. Somebody blows a tire off the opening face off. You have a breakaway. But I still wouldn't advocate for your defenseman to give up a breakaway off the opening faceoff. That would give the coaches quite a heart attack. Quickly, just Shayna, before I let you go, tell me what have you been up to this summer? What excites you most about the season, and do you have any goals for you yourself? Because, like you said, I mean, you won goalie of the year, you won a championship. Would a goal maybe be to do it all over again?
That's a great goal. That I like that one. I'm gonna take that.
Well, because there's a lot that you've done and yet in the league, and it's like the pinnacle is winning the top goalie. I mean, I guess the pinnacle would be maybe winning league MVP. That might be higher than a top goalie, but top goalie is right up there amongst uh, the prestigious year-end awards, if I could use that term. When you got named the goalie of the year last year, what was your reaction? Because I mean, you have to think you were up for something, the type of season you were having. Um, but again, you never know, right? Because it's you and two other um, highly good goaltenders as well. Um, what was kind of that reaction when, yeah, you know what? I am a top goalie in the MWJHL. This award kind of verifies, that all my hard work has paid off.
When I heard my name, I was honestly shocked because, as you were saying, this league has so many amazing goaltenders that we've seen throughout the year. So when I heard my name, I was shocked.
Finally, just on a side note here, it's kind of popped into my head as we're talking. Can you tell me a bit about the goaltending fraternity in the MWJHL? I mean, there's you, there's Lepke and with the tips. There's with the stars, and then there's Marco with the tips, and Trudell and Didio with the blizzard. I mean, those are all good goaltenders too. I always say, you know what, this is one of the best crop of goaltenders that we have, and whoever didn't win the championship on a given year, gets the goaltending often to go along with it. Can you speak to maybe the goaltending fraternity in the MWJHL? Because I'm sure you guys you play each other as competitors, but you know each other like because you're staring at each other from one end of the rink to the other, so you kind of get to know people. What is it about the goaltending fraternity? Is it that good of goaltending league wide? And does that maybe force you to bring your goaltending up to a higher level?
Exactly. Like I was saying, there's lots of amazing goaltenders. So each game you're playing against them, you're going up against a really good goaltender. So it makes, well, for me personally, makes me want to play even that much harder. But honestly, all the goalies in this league, they're very nice, very friendly, and very, very good.
Finally, tell me about your goaltending partner last year, Hannah Silverton's. She pushed you pretty good. You won a lot of games. She won a lot of games. How was that relationship like between you two? Because I can't imagine, especially when you guys had that unbeaten run for as long as you did. I don't want to be the goalie and the net responsible for the team's first loss. So was that kind of an internal competition between you two?
You know what? Yes, like a fun little competition between us. I knew I never wanted to play because I didn't want to be the goalie to break this streak. But I mean, if we lost, we lost. It wasn't, that big of a deal. But yeah, like it's a I don't know how to say it, like a fun competition kind of sorta. Like there's no bad blood or anything like that. It's just like, okay, we're pushing each other to be the best that we can be.
That's true. Finally, I asked you about season expectations. I asked you about, your excitement for the season. What have you been doing this summer? Because I mean, everybody has, their, this is hockey in school for 8 or 9 months of the year. What does Shayna Moore do in the summer?
I work and that's about it.
Sounds like just about everybody else these days. Shayna, congratulations on your goaltender of the year. Congratulations on your championship run, championship. We'll see you in a couple weeks at the tryouts. Looking forward to chatting more with you as the year goes on. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you.
All right, Shannon Moore, kind enough to join us. That is it for today's program. If you want to watch it, you can watch it back on YouTube. YouTube, just search Game Time TV. It'll be up on all the channels when it premieres. Also on my Facebook page, the Game Time TV Facebook page. Just a reminder, Game Time TV returning as the exclusive TV partner of the MWJHL. Season begins in late September. Spoiler alert, all 75 regular season games, a special event, and the playoffs will be on Game Time TV. And you can see Shayna Moore and the Prairie Blaze perhaps bring back some memories on opening night. There's your spoiler alert on what the opening night matchup could be. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you were watching the lead last year, you'll know exactly what I'm thinking that opening night matchup might be. Thanks again, Shayna, for coming on. Thank you very much for watching. Everybody, we'll be back with another interview shortly in the next couple days as we count down to the season. A full season of Game Time Today comes back in October, and you can find all of the pay-per-view paid content watch.gametimetv.ca. For Shayna Moore, Michael Gerl saying thank you very much for watching, and we will chat with you soon. Bye for now.